everyone. I am back here. I've got Miss Shelby Pressley here, Miss Shelby here with me. We're having some brunch together. We are at the Sleepy Bee Cafe. It's over here in Blue Ash, Ohio. What you eating on, Shelby?
The chorizo. They're so yummy. With red potatoes and toast, whole grain toast. And then I have fruit here just for visual. I mean, I'm eating it, but it's a cheat day, so.
It's a cheat day for us both.
Yeah.
Speaking of cheat days, wait, before we get started, I want you to tell everybody kind of who you are and what you do.
So, my name is Shelby Pressley. I go by SC Pressley. It's just a shorter version of my name. But I'm an educator. I'm a high school educator. I teach high school English, all 4 grades. And I'm also a writer. I'm a writer for Cincy Chic and Dayton Chic Guide. My editorials just went into the Dayton market, which I'm super excited about. And I'm just a dope individual. I think I'm a dope individual. I think that's the overall.
I like the way you claim your roles.
I think I'm a dope individual. I couldn't have said that maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, but I think I'm a dope individual. I like this person.
I think we do need to give ourselves more credit, like
For sure. We do.
So a lot of people sometimes we expect other people to tell us. We want other people to tell us how dope we are. But at the end of the day, we should already know it.
And I think sometimes we need to hear it though. So I think about the 5 love languages, and one of mine is like I need to hear those words of gratification that like let me know, you know, that I'm a good person and I'm doing right. Not necessarily like I need like, you know, confirmation, but it's nice to hear those things, you know. Like I was struggling really bad with high anxiety the other morning, and something just told me to put a post up about it, and I got bombarded with messages and texts and stuff just reminding me, like, because I just felt inadequate. And I said that, like, I felt super inadequate. Like, I had all these negative just thoughts running through my head, and, like, people were like, you and inadequate don't even mix. And so it just confirmed for me, like, you know, sometimes you need to hear that. Sometimes you need that, you know, to remind yourself, like, you are dope. You already know it, but, you know, life happens. Sometimes things come a mile a minute, you know, and it knocks you off of your pedestal. And sometimes you need people to help reposition your crown. And those people just reposition my crown. And I appreciate them so much because at that moment I needed that.
It's the little things too, like me and my best friend, Tish. It's funny, I have been, you know, when I feel down, I kind of withdraw.
I do too.
I don't speak about it. I don't talk much. I just kind of withdraw. Mm-hmm. And my best friend hit me up all of a sudden. And yes, I'm an old foodie. Even though I've completely changed my diet, I'm an old foodie. She's like, best friend, I made you a foodie pizza. But she knows.
That's funny. That's funny.
So when we went to work out the other day, she gave me this cute little fruit pizza that she makes with the cookie dough for the crust.
Oh, that sounds so good.
And then she makes this little creamy, sweet stuff. I don't know what it is, but she don't use no dairy or none of that. She don't use sugar.
So yummy.
She uses stevia. She doesn't use any dairy or none of that. And she had on there kiwi, strawberries, blueberries, and bananas.
That sounds
and
so
it went
yummy.
around in a cute circle. When I say
That sounds so good.
it was delicious.
Man, I vibe with foodies. Excuse me. I vibe with foodies because I love to eat. Eating is a love language, even though it's not categorized as one. Eating is a love language. Like if you can't vibe with me when we eat, sometimes I dance when I eat. Like I'll do a little jig, like I'll sway back and forth, or like I'll tap my feet. And if you don't get that, then that's negativity I don't need in my life.
Hell, baby, you ever fed a baby?
Yeah, they do it. They do it. They do it.
So, I know back in the day when I used to cook, right? And every time I would cook food, you would see, true story, ask anybody that's known me and know my kids, they all be dancing in the kitchen when I'm cooking, like.
Because they know it's coming. It's that excitement, it's that anticipation of when this shit is done, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait. Can't wait.
So speaking of food, you've been on your weight loss journey, you told me, for a year and a half.
Yep.
And it just happened to start by chance. You want to tell her, I know we talked a little bit about it in the last video, but you've come into so many revelations since the last time we did a video. I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I had a realization about is as I began to shed my pounds physically, I began to shed the pounds of the weight of the things I was holding on the inside too. And it was a lot. I am very open about mental health because I suffer from depression and anxiety. So I got back in therapy, and it has been the most amazing journey and experience because the doors, my therapist calls them doors, that have been shut and locked for so long have opened up, and things I've been holding on to that was aiding in not just the physical weight, but the internal weight started to shed. So a lot of times you'll see, or you'll hear people say, when they shed the inside stuff, the weight came off. Mine was the opposite. When the weight came off, then it almost like forced me to deal with the inside stuff as well. So I had a transformation physically and emotionally. And it's been all the better for me because the way I look at not just food, but just health overall, it's completely different than anything I've ever looked at before, This transformation, this journey that I'm on, because it's not over, it's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing, right? It's had its ups and downs, but it's been the dopest, livest, emotional, scariest shit I've ever done in my life. It's been a roller coaster, but I've learned so much about myself, so much about others, so much about things that I was holding on to that I didn't mean to. So, yeah.
So that's beautiful. So for those who would like to know, what are some of your diet choices or how you do your diet, and what are some of your daily routines that you do every day?
So, from a spiritual standpoint, I do meditate twice a day, and I set intentions. So before my feet hit the floor, I set an intention for that day. And one of the things that I tell anybody is that if you're living your life, if you're just waking up each day and going, and you're not setting an intention, to me, you're just walking blindly into your day.
Love that food. Everything
Oh,
good?
so good.
Good. Can I get you anything right now?
Nope.
All set? All right, you guys enjoy.
Thank you. If you're just blindly walking through your day, you're being unintentional. How's the pancake? Is it good? Is it good?
I'm sorry, y'all. What's this? This is good.
It's strawberry. Oh, that is hilarious.
I'm sorry, y'all had a moment.
I feel it though, because I put it on my toast, but I can't even imagine what it tastes like on a pancake.
With syrup?
Yeah, that's a whole nother type of art form. That is funny. But I love real moments like that, because at that moment, that's what it was. That's what it was. I love that.
I'm sorry, but you go ahead. I'm sorry, y'all.
I remember what I was saying. That's funny. Setting your attention for the day. And then I eat a light breakfast, you know. So light breakfast for me because I don't like to eat heavy in the morning. So light breakfast would be granola or oatmeal or fruit or something like that, or even those little Bonita bars. I'll do that, you know. And then lunch, I try to do a lot of roughage during my day. So like raw vegetables, salads, you know, things like that. And then dinner, I always try to eat dinner before 8 o'clock. I don't eat after 8. And if I do, I try to eat more fruits and vegetables. Like if I'm busy and I don't get home until after 8 and I'm hungry because I haven't eaten, I'll try to do like vegetables or a fruit or something like something's not going to sit in the pit of my stomach. Because like if I eat like a sandwich or something, that's just sitting there.
Right.
You know, and it's just collecting. So yeah, that's kind of food wise. And then as far as like being physical, I go hiking, I walk, weightlifting. I mean, there's so much stuff on YouTube, you guys, that you can just YouTube your target areas. Hell, Instagram. I found workouts on Instagram. There's so much, and you know, you just target the areas that you want to hit. So like for me, my upper body has always been bigger. Like in my head, I thought I was built like a football player. Like I thought I was though. I thought I was.
I know somebody that is.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Come to think of it.
Are
no
you built
shade.
like that person? Okay. We ain't gonna say that again.
But so I say that to say, like, you can find different workouts to, you know, target the different places that you want to hit. Like I was sharing with Jazz, you know, like I had to buy like new undergarments because like my drawers is falling off. I'm like, holy
That's like a
wait a minute. Listen, for my ladies out there, when you start to lose weight, especially your upper body, and you put on your bra and you got to put it on like that last hook, you know you hit a milestone. And I was like, when that happened to me, I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on, back fat is gone? Holy shit. Yeah, so that's a good moment. That's a good moment.
These babies ain't going down. I just can y'all please.
So,
Please go down.
so this is because I'm a nurse, so I research stuff. When I started losing weight, I started to see mine weren't as perky anymore. And I was like, why not? And I'm like, well, it's fatty tissue. And with fatty tissue, it's a muscle you have to, so I actually do chest exercises to lift them up. There's actual exercises out there to lift up your boobs.
Then I used to do the weights where
Yep. And then anything that's up, like this, oh yeah. Because what I would realize is like when my bra was on, happy boobs. When they were off, sad boobs.
like happy boobs,
sad. I'm like, I would like them to stay mediocre. Like, just give me mediocre boobs. You know? Yeah.
How was your day?
It's alright. Yeah. So yes, I do stuff like that. But there's tons of resources out there.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, mine have gotten larger. And I remember the doctor told me it's just fatty tissue.
That's all it is. That's literally all it is. Yeah.
I'm like, I thought about getting mine reduced, but if I could like work out and lose some of that extra tissue,
That's all it is. Yeah.
I'd be happy with that. But you know, you be jogging and your stuff be like.
But here's the thing to remember, and a dietitian told me this. As women, we are supposed to have more weight on us. We're naturally built to hold more weight on us for two reasons. One, we carry life. We're built to carry life. So we have to be able to carry more weight because we're carrying people. Right? And then also, too, the way our bodies are built in certain areas, it holds weight naturally anyway. Right? So your hips, your butt, your breasts, like that's, you know. So, again,
Support life.
that's honestly the main reason why, you know. So, again, you losing 100 pounds is great, but you keep in mind, it's not going to be skinny everywhere, you know. Because I know tons of flat tummy, but their asses are huge.
I mean, I'll take that.
As would I. So if we're being candid, and you know I'm all about candidacy, I've seen a boost in my caboose.
Really?
Let me tell you, it's a very, so my sister, she's the most, I love my sister, my younger sister. She is the most cynical, yet driest humor individual. But it's hilarious. She's very much like a Seinfeld.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's hilarious. But like the day that I was having a really difficult day, like she texted me and she said, you know, just remember who you are, you know, just gave you all these great things. She said, oh, and by the way, she was like, don't forget, your thing is thangin'. I literally had a tear come down my face. I was like, thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It be that little stuff.
It be the little stuff. You know, you walk by the mirror. Like a couple weeks ago, I was walking by the mirror. You know, you're just getting ready. And I was like, wait a minute. My thing is staying. It's never thang before. It's staying. That's a pretty, but again, I know it's the work I'm putting in, and again, me being more cognizant about not just the physicality, but just being good of my spirit. You know.
But you know, the physicality works, you know.
It does. It does. It's definitely a booster.
Someone told me that my little thing back there starting to round out a little bit. I know.
Listen.
I ain't never had a lot of butt, but you know,
Me neither.
What I got, I want to round it.
Me neither. But let me tell you, when my sister said that, I literally teared. I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah. My target area is like my tummy area. And, you know, working out wasn't really helping it, but what started helping it was my diet. As soon as I started changing what I'm eating, it started seeing.
Food has a lot to do with it. And like I'm sharing with Jazz, you can eat hearty and all the things you like, but you have to be cognizant about what's in it, right? So I love tacos. Tacos can be super healthy. Instead of sour cream, put in guacamole, right? Instead of using dairy cheese, use not gluten-free, but vegan cheese, right? So many different yummy recipes that you can use that don't aid in gaining the weight.
And we're also talking about, you got like a sweet tooth like me, you love chocolate, you know, dark chocolate. We're talking about dark chocolate and fruit, like blueberry.
Dark chocolate and fruit, that's my go-to, because I love sweet stuff. That is my go-to. I was telling one of my students that she's going through her weight loss journey. Dark chocolate and fruit, oh my goodness.
Can you please tell everyone how much weight you've lost in the past year and a half?
70 pounds.
Diet and exercise, 70 pounds in a year and a half.
70 pounds. Yep. Now, I was joking because I have gained 3 pounds because I've been a little.
Girl, you went on 3 pounds.
Yeah.
But so question for you, so is your exercise pretty vigorous or is it just like in moderate?
It depends. It really honestly depends on my energy level. So like in the summer, I was going real hard. So like hiking, I love hiking. So I'll challenge myself sometimes to do like super rigorous hikes. So like the hiking trails in Monterey Forest, there's one called the Ponderosa Trail. And it's super rigorous. I mean, it's like the natural grooves in the earth, you know.
I used to take that trail over there where it's close to a tree house.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I did that one
too.
I did that one a couple weeks ago. There's also one near Miami University in Miami, Ohio. Man, listen, 30 minutes in, you're drenched in sweat, you know. So like, I like the more natural trails, you know, because and also too, it's super meditative. I like being outside. I like being, you know, grounding myself, you know, just me and nature, you know. Like I had a super spiritual moment at Monterey Forest on that trail you're talking about near the tree house. I was just hiking and I was listening to Londrell.
I love Londrell. Y'all are not hip. Londrell. That's Londrelle.
Oh, it's Mondrell. And I was listening to him. He was speaking. And I started to cry, and like literally at the moment I started to cry, the sun came out, and I saw 2 butterflies.
Oh my God. I'll put the link to his YouTube channel in the bio. I meditate to some of his stuff. Mm-hmm. He's my morning inspiration.
He's a good person to listen to.
And I like him just because he has one called Dear Jasmine. I'm just going to put that there.
Yeah. He's amazing. He's amazing. Yeah. So, it really depends on my energy level, how I feel, you know. So like tomorrow morning, I'll go for a hike, but it probably won't be too rigorous, you know. It just really depends on how I feel. But for me, I'm getting the steps in. So like on my phone, because I always have my phone on me, it has a step tracker, so it tracks my steps. You know, because sometimes I'll be walking around and not even realize I'll look at my phone. I've done 12,000 steps. You know.
I get that at work.
Yeah, same here. So as a teacher, I'm always on my feet. You know, like I'm always on my feet. And so I happen to look at my phone. I'm like, oh, I've already done 8,000 steps, and it's only 10:30. You know what I mean? Like,
I think, and on the days when I work and I go hiking afterwards, I'll have like about 24,000.
It's easy to get, and it's crazy because you don't even think about it. You don't even think about it. It's not hard.
I think those steps are important.
Yeah.
I think tracking your steps also lets you know how, it kind of teaches you how inactive you can be.
Man, when I started tracking my steps, it hit me like, my ass don't be going nowhere. Like when you actually pay attention to it, and you're cognizant, you're like, damn, I did nothing today.
That's what got me into working out outside in nature. I'm like you. I prefer outside in nature to a gym.
For sure.
So, but what got me doing it was, I realized that when I was in the house all day, I was only getting like 3,000 or 4,000 steps. So what I would do
better than me, and I was clocking 200. That was me, back and forth to the fridge, going to the bathroom, checking the mail, finding the remote.
So what I did was I started walking around my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this feels good.
Yeah.
So then I started tracking my path. And then I got up to 2 miles, and then I got up to 3, and then I got up to 4, and now I can do between 5 and 8 miles. And it's like a big circle around my neighborhood. But it's like, it could be anywhere from 5 to 8 miles depending on my energy level.
You know what's so dope about that? It's just like when I started first walking just around my neighborhood, and it never occurred to me, I don't know, my neighborhood that I have so many dope neighbors I wasn't even paying attention to, like, and so like we know each other like on a first name basis. We ask each other about what's going on in our lives. I'm like, how closed off have I been?
I also noticed like smaller local businesses. Like I found like a nice little sandwich shop that I didn't know in my own neighborhood. A nice little shop, been there for years. Didn't even know was there.
So again, outside just isn't for the physicality, it's also out there, it gets you out there to communicate, right? To fellowship with people, you know? That's amazing. Like I have neighbors that are just amazing. And they're like, how long have you been living in the neighborhood? And I tell them, and they're like, we've never seen you. I'm like, well, ditto. You know?
Yeah, I try to get better with that because I'm not very neighborly.
Yeah.
So learning to what gets me talking to neighbors is that my kids are neighborly. So if there's kids down the street, the kids come over, you know.
Yeah.
That gets me into it. I stay out of myself.
I'm usually the same way, but when I see little people and I see kids, that just draws me in. That draws me in. Like I put up my Facebook the other day. I was at Target. And this little boy, he couldn't have been no more than 7 or 8. And again, this lets you know that kids, because kids are so open spiritually, they have no filter. So he just came up to me, he goes, can I tell you a joke? I'm like, shoot. You know, like, what is it? He goes, and he clears his throat. That's what made me laugh. He goes, okay. Like, I'm gonna reenact. He goes, okay. He goes, what do you call a number that won't stay still? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, a Roman numeral. And at first I was like, and then we both started a dead laugh. I was like, that's creative. But again, like stuff like that will get me to become neighborly, you know, because it's kids.
My 5-year-old woke me up this morning and she has a baby named Sarah. It's the ugliest doll I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's her kid though. That's her kid.
And she was like, yeah, I just gave Sarah a bath and took her pajamas off and gave her a bath, and this is her outfit for the day. You think this outfit cute? She's holding an ugly doll up to me. Imagine, my daughter's saucy, so the doll has a leopard print vest, a cheetah print vest with a skirt on.
Because anything less would be uncivilized.
With these shoes that my son and drew, these little white shoes that my son and drew a Nike check on.
That's hilarious. I love them. I love them.
She's holding on to him just like a baby.
Because she knows where she goes. A baby has to go. You know? A baby has to go. Sometimes I find that kids are more, because they are, kids are more intuitive about things that we overthink all the time. You know, like we overthink things as small as like dinner. Kids like, whatever, we'll be fixed. And then you're like, you're right. Why am I? You know, like there's no concept of time. There's no concept of responsibility. You know, that's an adult thing. Yeah. So I very much try to put myself to think like a child when I'm getting overwhelmed. You know, just to kind of be more carefree, which is difficult for me because everything for me.
Children are here to teach us.
Without a doubt.
They're here to teach us.
Without a doubt.
And I love it. Even when I get, frustrated with my kids about certain things, because sometimes I get busy. And, so busy, I don't really take a moment to be like, what's going on.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a talk with my 11-year-old the other day, and I'm like, do you feel like I'm spending no time with you? She looked at me simply, and she was like, you don't. She's like, I know you're busy, but you don't.
Yeah.
And that brutal honesty, it hit me so hard, but I couldn't be mad at her because she's telling me the truth.
Yeah.
She's like, you don't.
Yeah. I read in a book once that said that because kids, they're linked to the spiritual world is still so fresh, they don't know anything but the truth. Right? They don't know anything but the truth. Because their link is still very much linked to the spiritual realm. So anything outside of that is not even, so when you ask them something, they give you a direct answer. But it's us, adults.
I was in my feelings. I was like, what do you mean? She was like,
But it's us adults that are taken aback when in reality, they're giving us exactly what we need to hear, right? What we need to progress, and in its full context. You ask them a question, if you ask a 5-year-old, do you think I'm fat? Yes, mommy, I do. You clutch your pearls, but again, their truth is linked to truth. They don't do anything but that.
Yeah, my 5-year-old one day I was like, do you think mommy getting fat? She was like, oh, in here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, they're very, but my 11-year-old who told me that she's a Libra. I believe that. So she doesn't know, she reminds me of my mother, but she doesn't know any other way to be. So when she give it to you, she just give it to you. She don't make it sweet. She came back and she's like, I apologize. She said, it may have come out mean. She said, but I didn't mean to be mean. She said, but I just told you how I felt. And I'm like, you don't have to apologize. You know what I mean? You don't have to apologize to me for you being yourself. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
But
the world has conditioned us to apologize because I always apologize for everything, and it wasn't until somebody brought it to my attention that I was apologizing for things that I shouldn't apologize for. Like, why are you apologizing? Because whatever, there's nothing to apologize for. You're doing exactly what you wanted to do in that moment. So I'll tell you who I've been listening to, and you may know of her, Abraham Hicks. Love her. Yes. So my therapist a couple of months ago said, hey, I know know you love, because she knows I love Iyanla, and I read Iyanla's word and I hang on to it like nobody's business.
Wait, you know she's my idol.
I love Iyanla.
I said
I met her once. She was at the Duke Energy Center maybe about 7 years ago.
I want to take off so bad. I remember that.
I remember I spent company money on it, and I hope my company isn't, because I'll pay y'all back, but it was like years ago. I spent company money on those tickets, and it was the best investment, because I was sitting front, like I seen Gigi, her sweat, like I was right there, and everything she said poured into me. I love her books. I'm reading a book right now of hers, The 4 Levels of Truth.
I want to read that when I have
4 Levels of Truth. Yeah, I'll take a picture of it and show you. I got it from the library, but I needed that. I needed that at the moment that I was reading it. But Abraham Hicks, my therapist told me Abraham Hicks, she said, listen.
And we will put links to Abraham Hicks and Iyanla Vanzant in the section too.
I listened to Abraham Hicks on her not podcast, but she has different like speaking things, and so I listened to her on Spotify. And the segments usually like 12, maybe 15 minutes, but everything she says hits home. Everything she says, especially about happiness. Like we make happiness so difficult. And if you're doing what makes you happy, what makes you think that's not what you're supposed to be doing? You know? If dating this person makes you happy, and they're not doing anything to displease that happiness, why are you not dating that person? Or if going to this restaurant makes you happy, why are you not going to that restaurant? She calls it being in your vortex. Being in your vortex.
And it's funny that you're bringing that up, because that has been my struggle. You know, like, I love nursing. I've always wanted to be a nurse. I became a nurse, and I've done it for 14, 15 years now. But I'm happy when I'm doing my spiritual work. Like this right here, sitting and talking about spiritual work. This makes me happy. You know, connecting with other people, doing the readings and stuff like that. That makes me happy.
Absolutely.
So how do I transfer from nursing to doing what makes me happy?
So,
You know, that's my struggle.
Yeah. I'll tell you how I've been trying to live my life. I've been trying to live my life as a table. And what I mean by that is my table is built on truth for myself, because your truth and my truth can be 2 totally different things. I can only rest in my truth. My table is built on that. So if this is my table is built on the happiness and truth that is for me. I can't worry about if it's for you. I can't dwell in that place. Right? I'm doing it in service for me. I can't do that. So
I think I have spent so many years in survival mode, having to work to take care of children, having to work to maintain things. I'm afraid to kind of let that go.
Yeah.
Just trust that everything's going to be okay.
It's scary. It's scary. It's scary.
You should have saw me putting in my 2 weeks notice at work. I was shaking right now. My 2 weeks notice, like, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? It's just like, how am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to do this? How am I going to book enough? I actually sat down and did a budget, and I call it a reading report. And what I did was, I just calculated, because I don't keep track of it, because I just love to do it so much. I don't track it, but I calculated how much I bought in a month doing readings. And I'm like, why am I working this much? Can I bring in this much every month? I don't need to work that many hours, because and it was a steady amount. It wasn't less than a steady amount, but it was enough. It might not have been enough for me to do all the extra stuff that I love to do. Right. And I am extra, but it was enough for me. I like my style. Right. But it was enough for me to pay bills. And you know, if you do I do like a budget, and then I got my extra stuff over there. But it was enough for me to pay bills, car note, insurance, rent, the stuff that you would need, and to take care of anything that the kids need and get their clothes and stuff.
Yep.
It was enough.
It was enough. And a lot of times what you'll find is that the universe will begin to take away stuff that doesn't propel you in that happiness. It could either be people or places or things. At least that's what happened for me. All the shit that I thought that I needed, or that I was under the impression that I needed to aid in my happiness, was doing the complete opposite.
True story. Check this out. So, years ago, I was considered a kick-ass nurse. I mean,
You are a kick-ass nurse.
yeah, but check this out. I knew once I came to my spirituality, I would still work like crazy, do everything, like, nursing. But me knowing that and everybody telling me that was a good nurse, it just propelled me to stay in the nursing. Right. But when I found what I really love to do, that nursing part started to decline. When I tell you within the past 3 years, mind you, 15 years, never had a write-up, never been in trouble, maybe once or twice. Past 3 years, I've been in the office more times, I've had more write-ups, I've had more complaints, and I realize my heart's not in it no more.
It's not.
Don't get me wrong, I love taking care of people. I love the field of nursing. It's not about the money, because the money's not worth the stress.
Right.
But I realized that my heart wasn't in it. At one point, I'm going with this degree, that degree, and I'm going that. I don't even have the desire. I'm like 4 classes shy of my bachelor's degree. Everyone's like, girl, you don't finish. It's like 1 more semester. No.
Right.
I don't want to.
Because your heart's not in it. And so again, that's what I mean by your table of truth. If you are seated at the table, if you're seated at your table of truth, nothing else anybody says is going to rock you from that.
Nope.
Because it's your truth. Like, I hear you. It sounds like a good plan, but it's not my plan. Right? It's not based in my happiness. It's not going to do me a service. And I've done that my whole life. I've listened to what other people said. Like, you should go into HR. I spent how many years in HR? I was great at it. I made amazing money. I got to travel. It was great. But it was soul sucking. It was soul sucking.
Right there.
It was just, nothing I did was ever good enough. No matter how many people I hired, it was always something wrong with them. Nobody, and it just got to a point, I'm like, what am I doing this for? What am I doing this for? I was depressed all the time. I was living out of a suitcase. What am I doing? I was doing what others envisioned for me to do, but my vision was not anywhere in it. It was a roadmap. It was a roadmap, but I was very much Where's Waldo. Like, you couldn't find me anywhere because everybody put in their own, and I had no say-so, and I was just following, and that's not okay. That's not okay.
That's another thing too, healthcare. It's just gotten to the point to where it really is not patient-centered anymore. It's about the money.
Yeah.
It's just not. So you can't really do the things you want to do. You can't really provide the type of care that you want to provide. And then, staffing be short a lot of the time. It's just not what it used to be when I first came into nursing.
I feel that way about education.
Staffing was abundant. There was plenty. You had enough. The nurse-to-patient ratio was beautiful, so you could spend more time with your patients and family members and talk to them more. You'll be lucky they even get a word from you.
Right. Yeah. I feel that way about education. Like, every industry right now is struggling. Every industry, doesn't matter what it is. But in education, being a teacher, I was telling Jasmine, I'm teaching 6 classes right now. Not because I want to, because, there's a shortage of teachers. And again, to be a teacher means you have to be of service. You have to have a heart of service. You have to be able to put your feelings aside and realize it's about the student. But again, you're not only dealing with students, you're dealing with parents, you're dealing with the community of parents who sometimes have just given up, which sucks. So then you have to be a counselor to the parent. If you're an empath like me, you wear your heart on your sleeve, so you're like, shit. It can be, but again, you got to be seated at your table of truth, and you have to be able to say, I hear you, but that's not my truth, and I am not going to take accountability for the things. A lack of your preparation does not require a part of it. Not prepared. If you're not, that's on you. I'm not about to swallow your. I'm not going to do that.
When I learned that, because people used to guilt me into working extra.
Oh man,
Guilt me.
Oh,
my gosh,
man.
we don't have enough people.
Oh man,
We're not going to be able to do this. And then after a while, I'm just looking like, that's not my problem.
that's not my fault.
I did the time that I was required to do.
I did, and I owe you no more.
I don't owe you anymore.
I don't owe. It's like when I say no, like boundaries. No is an answer. I don't owe you a reason. It's no. That's it. You know, and
I told you I'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday
at this
7
time
to 7 p.m.
Yep, that's it.
That's what you have.
That's
no, I'm
it.
not staying till 9 o'clock.
And I don't owe you verbiage on why. I don't owe you that. And I think that's the biggest thing I struggle with, you know, because I've very much been a people pleaser, and every once in a while I find myself in that, you know. But man, that power of no.
Yeah, I think that comes with age and wisdom too. Like the
Oh,
older
it
you
definitely
get,
comes with maturity.
the less inclined you feel to explain yourself. I don't anymore.
Yeah.
If I can, I can.
That's it.
No,
That's it.
no,
That's it.
I don't want to.
That's it. That's it. And I think if people get that, or get that, you know, your life becomes so much easier, man.
And it's funny because I learned that from my boyfriend. You know, like if I do.
Isn't it wild sometimes men, and again, disclaimer, not all men, some men, can teach you a level of discipline in yourself that's like, man,
Yeah. So like if I start to explain myself, you're like, put this tab right there.
you gotta do that.
She said no.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Or you know what? She said she doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, that's it.
Or
That's
I'd
it.
be like, you know what? I'm tired. I've had too many readings. Somebody wants a reading real fast. It's an emergency, but I'm exhausted.
They gonna do it.
Tell them no.
Yeah. That's
It's
it.
okay. Ask
That's
them,
it.
can they do it tomorrow?
Yep.
Reschedule for another day, or refer them to another reader.
Yep.
But you're tired. You're exhausted.
And see, the Libra in me is so petty. And again, this is probably why I don't have the particular gift of sight that you have. Because if somebody were to ask me that, I would totally take the standstill of how your boyfriend does. Like, tell them the person's dead. They're not going anywhere. You talk to their ass tomorrow. That's how petty I am. Like, just, it's fine. No, but I feel that. I feel that so much because, and I find that women do it more than men. I think it's a societal thing. That we feel that we have to give reasons why the way we are, why we move the way we move. You know, we don't have to do that.
Nope.
We don't have to do that. You have to, you know,
Just say no.
just say no. Just say
But
no.
I'm still working on it. I'm a work in progress because I'm naturally, you know, taught to be nice.
Yeah.
But a no doesn't mean that you're mean. It just means no.
Yeah. Yep.
It just means
Yep.
no.
Yep. But we have been preconditioned as girls growing into women that we need to be polite, we got to be dainty, respectful, submissive. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother show. Because that word, I got into an argument with a man, a grown man, about that. You know, and what submissive means in the context of a relationship. You know, submissive, I can be submissive, but submissive to the wrong person is detrimental, super detrimental. You know.
Oh, yeah, that's something.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. I can wrap a whole. That's a whole nother segment. That's a whole nother segment.
Yeah, I'm grabbing my head.
Yeah, that's a whole nother segment. And I think we're all guilty of being submissive to the wrong person or people. Not just person, but people. Because we could be submissive to our family members and they don't deserve that. You know, no, or friends,
Or jobs.
You know, because we take on these negative connotations like, if I don't do this, then everything's gonna fall apart. You can't be good at nobody if you're dead.
Yeah, I spoke to a nurse the other day, and she was like, I never take a break. And I was like, you're here 12 hours and you don't take a break?
That's not okay.
She was like, no, it's too much work. I said, that's not okay.
It's not okay.
I told her, I said, if you drop dead on this floor, guess what they're going to do?
You're gonna
Hire somebody else to replace you tomorrow.
They're gonna wait 24 hours because, again, as somebody in HR, that's what I know to be true. They're gonna post it on Indeed as a private job because they want to show respect for the deceased. But best believe they got about 20 resumes waiting on their desk. They trying to fill your spot, and then they're going to send some whack-ass flowers to your family to say our deepest sympathies. And the reason I know this is because I've been the person to call the flower arrangement for those whack-ass flowers. So I say this to say that you have to take care of you. You got to take care of you.
So I work 12 hours, I don't take a break. What?
It's not okay.
I looked at her and I said, I'm taking my break.
You have to. You
I
have
don't
to.
care how busy it is.
And again,
I don't
you
care
don't
what's
have
not
to-
done.
And you don't legally, but also, you know, you don't have to give a reason. I'm taking my break. That's what I'm doing. I'll be back at the end of my break. I'll see you.
I'll stop mid working like, lock the car. I'll be back.
Yep.
It's like, you know, my mind will click off. I get overwhelmed. Like, you know what? I need a break. I'm about to do this. I'm about to go. I'll spaz out one good time. If I'm too overwhelmed, then I get mean. So I know my limits. I just kind of
Yeah, and you have to know your limits. You have to know when you've tapped out, and that's something that I was never good at, knowing my tap out, because I would fault myself like, you know, like there's that ego, you know, ego will pop up, you know, you're just not doing good enough, you're always tired, you know, and I was tired, but I was still pushing myself to do things when I should have just chilled out, you know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
So where are you hiking tomorrow?
It's a great question. I don't know. I never plan to, even though I'm a planner, I never plan where I'm going to hike. I kind of let the universe guide me. Every time I've ever done that, I've ended up in some amazing places. Like I'll just hop in the car, or I'll throw in Google hiking trails, and I'll just find one I think that's dope. Like I drove all the way out to Adams County one day, which is Amish country, and it was awesome. For one, Amish people cook amazing food. If you haven't eaten Amish food, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I don't understand. You have not lived until you've had Amish fried chicken for two reasons. One, they killed it that morning, so it's fresh AF. And two, all of everything is fresh. Oh, and Amish apple pie.
I haven't had Amish apple pie, but I've had Amish fried chicken.
Oh my God.
It's
Yeah. I like being in nature that's kind of secluded, where there's not a lot of footprint, you know, where I could just be by myself. That's the kind of hiking I like to do, because I just feel like it's more sovereign ground. I know that sounds weird. I like that. I like that, you know. I didn't get a chance this spring or this summer, but you know, there's a whole bunch of, Ohio is known for its Native American footprint, especially northern Ohio, and I didn't get a chance to go. So I know next spring I'm definitely going to go hiking more near northern Ohio.
Also, have you been to any of the mounds?
No, I didn't get a chance. No.
Yeah, I haven't been to Serpentine Mound yet, but Miami's
Yeah.
Birdman.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That's one I've been to several times.
Yeah.
Hike up them steps.
I've seen them online. It looks intense. Yeah. Now I have done Miamisburg near like Dayton. There's Native American territory up there, which is really pretty.
Yeah, that's where the mound is.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, okay. Then I just didn't make it to the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't make it to the mountain. Okay, got it. Note to self, make it to the mountain.
The mound.
Okay, cool.
You'll love it. I promise. The energy off of it is banging.
Yeah, I love that.
I usually take some crystals and I'll, you know, do my little thing.
Yeah. Thing with your thing.
Thing with the thing. Oh my gosh.
That's funny. That's so funny. So here's a question that I have for you. As you are growing into your maturity of being a natural healer, do you find that you're learning more about yourself? And when I say that, more about yourself in regards of who you've always been. Because sometimes I feel like we know who we are, but we hold back. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I think some people, a lot of people who haven't, just people who don't, per se, call themselves healers or anything like that, they don't understand the journey. The journey starts with you.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So as you're helping to heal others, a lot of things about yourself you meet and you come to see. I had realized that before I started my spiritual journey, I didn't even know who I was. And it's crazy because when I started to see who I was, I realized I was in the wrong relationship. That's when I started to realize, even though I love nursing, I'm in the wrong career path. You should start to see all these things.
Sorry to interrupt. Were you guys already ready for the check?
Yes.
Absolutely. Just one or separate? Two of them. Gotcha.
So, I had to learn a lot of things about myself. Great things, but also not so great things.
Man, those not great things are a doozy. They are a doozy. And they come full circle.
2018 and 2019 was a tough year for me. I lost my mom in April. I lost my job. I lost my house. I lost my relationship. A 14-year relationship. Everything.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
Yeah.
Between 2018 and 2019.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 2015 and 2016 were for me. I lost my relationship, my dog, my job, a person I thought was a friend. I moved, but I well, no, I take that back. I moved later. But those four things were back to back. The shittiest years. But it stripped me of the things I was holding on to, right? Because again, like I said, sometimes we hold on to things that are trying to get away from us, but we're like, no.
I had bought my house. And I don't think I even loved the house. I was in love with the idea of
The idea. Yep.
And that
Think
damn
about how
house,
many people do that.
that damn house was falling apart. A pipe had busted up underneath the house. So my insurance wouldn't cover it. The city wouldn't cover it.
Mom, I went to wash my hands and the faucet is in my hands.
When I say gravel and dirt was backed up into my basement and sewage,
Oh my God.
it was a mess. It had electrical
The
problems.
extra side of fruit. It's actually
Oh, cool.
right there.
Thank you.
And there's that. Absolutely. And you guys can either pay with me or up at the front, whatever is more convenient.
Okay.
But I held on to that damn house.
Yeah. Yep.
But then after my mom died and I went through this depression and the mortgage couldn't be paid, all these issues didn't have, and then the foreclosure letters start coming in the mail and all this stuff was happening, and one day I woke up and I'm just like,
What am I doing?
fuck it. That was what I said. I said fuck it.
Yep.
I looked for a house to rent.
And you know what? There's power in that. There's power in fuck it. If you haven't used it, I'm telling you.
You know, and also to think about it, you know, I took my mother home with me when she died. I set my living room up as her bedroom.
Yeah.
She had a hospital bed in the living room, her recliner and everything. And there was so much depression connected to that house.
For sure.
My relationship ended in that house.
Yep. Your mom
so
transitioned.
much,
Yeah.
so much depression, so much hurt and pain connected to that house. When I let it go, it was like the burden was lifted.
For sure. For sure, because it was time to start anew. And again, sometimes we hold on to things because we think that by being there or being in it, we're giving it some type of, I don't know, like almost like a weird paying homage to it. But you can't pay homage to negativity because all that manifests is more negativity.
Exactly.
Like, you know,
So now I'm to the point to where I just, if I have any attachments, it will be my children.
Yeah.
That's just hard for any parent.
Yeah,
if I
for
have
sure.
any issues with attachment, it's my children. I don't give a fuck about the house.
Yeah.
I'm moving to an apartment.
Because it's a dwelling. Again, it's a dwelling. And think
I don't care about no car. I'll drive. I don't care. I don't care.
Right.
It's just like, I don't care. So when I went through all this stuff again and stuff started getting, because I'm going through a little something right now and things are being rearranged, things are being jerked away, things are happening, and I'm stronger this time.
Yep.
Because I realized how strong I was back in 2017, 18, and 19 when I went through that rough patch. If I could get through that.
You can get through anything. Oh, trust me, I felt the same way. I felt that if I could make it through, if I made it through that 2015, 2016, where I was in such a dark place, I wrote my goodbye letters. I was ready to get up and get through. I'm like, if this is life, I'm gonna do shit. You know, I wrote letters to my sisters and, you know, my village, like my close friends, and like, I'm not about to, am I gonna, what? You know, and then you always hear people, you know, say, because again, they're pouring into you, you know, tough times don't last, you know, tough people do, you know, you can make it through this, and you hear it, but it's going in one ear and out the other. And again, I've never been a super religious person. I'm very spiritual. There is a difference. And at that point in my life, I'm like, you know what? If there is something that I gave a big middle finger to whoever was running this ship. I'm like, I told my sister, I was like, I want to speak to the manager. I was very much a Karen. Like, I want to speak to the manager. Who's the manager that's running this shit? This is awful. Who is, you know? So again, when I go through difficult times, because I'm going through some things too, when I go through difficult times and when I go through challenging times, I remind myself that I can make it through the depths of despair and the darkness I was once in. I can make it through anything. This is just a challenge. It's just a little notch in the road that I have to challenge myself to figure out. And then when I do, I'm like, oh, okay. And then realizing there's truly no such thing as a good or a bad decision. There's just a decision.
Yep.
And you rock with the decision you made. We get so focused on, is this the best one? Is this the best one? And then, again, somebody like me that has anxiety, that's anxiety all day long. You know? You know?
It's crazy that you talked about writing letters and giving up. Because I remember doing that. Especially after my mom died.
Oh, yeah.
Because it didn't hit me until later. She died in April, and she died in April, but I didn't go into my deep depression until well after that.
You're an autopilot. You're probably still an autopilot.
I was in charge of everything.
Yep, you're an autopilot. Yep.
So what I did was, I remember calling my kid's dad, and I was just like, I asked him to, of course I had children that wasn't his either,
right,
but he helped raise them, and I was like, if anything happened to me, you're going to take care of it.
Yeah.
And I just remember mentally making plans.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even my life insurance policy, I'm just making plans.
Yep.
Like, I'm like, okay, if this happens to me, my life insurance ain't going to pay out. You know, you be thinking about stuff like that.
Same here. I had already written out and had my last will and testament, you know, like all the money that I have in different things, where it should go to, what should happen to Charlie, you know, before my dog, before he passed. Like, I was very much, and that's how I knew subconsciously that I wasn't in a good place, you know, because when you start making plans for your ultimate demise,
And like,
that's
planning.
Yeah, like planning. Like I actually was going to banks, like all my banks that I do business with. Like, you know, what's the process of, you know, if something were to happen to me, you know, where would this, you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah. So I do go back to those times and I pat myself on the back because I learned so much about the things that I had to let go of to get here. You know, we have to let go of things to get to where we're supposed to be. And sometimes that road looks real shitty.
Sometimes it is.
And it is. And it is. You know, those roads, those avenues, those boulevards, because, yo, your girl been on boulevards, and boulevards are long as hell, you know, and it's like, man, is this thing never ending? You're going left, you're going right, you're doing, what do you call it, roundabouts? I've done so many roundabouts in my life, but again, I needed those roundabouts to figure out, you know what, this isn't good for me. So I'm going to make another choice to do what I feel like is good for me, whether it be right or wrong. Because truly, there's no right or wrong. It's just a choice you make. You know,
it's all a part of the journey. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And another thing I tell people is, because sometimes when things are stripped away from us, you look at it as failure.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes, like, and I'm looking at people like at a building. You know, let's say there's a small building and they want to redesign and put a more better building they want to remodel. They're going to tear that old building down.
Yep. Or caveat to that, maybe the foundation that it was built on wasn't strong. And you can take that anywhere you want. It could be relationships, friendships, relationships. If the foundation, everything has to be built on a strong foundation. So if the foundation is wobbly, it's going to falter. It's going to topple over. It's not going to last. You know. So yeah, sometimes the very things that are being stripped from us wasn't built on anything solid in the first place. You know, think about how many businesses go under in 5 years. It built up quick. That was great. But the foundation was not solid. When you look at marriages that end in a year, the foundation wasn't solid. They didn't know that person.
I want y'all to hear what she's saying. It's very important about foundation. Because even in a 14-year relationship, even though we're great friends, the foundation was not solid.
That foundation was real weak.
That foundation should have ended, that relationship should have ended 7 years into it. And, you know, when he used to tell me that, I wouldn't believe it. I used to get so angry and emotional when he used to tell me, like, Jasmine, we made better friends. Jasmine, it should have ended long before it did. And he would tell me, like, oh, you never loved me. He was like, no, I love you for the rest of my life. Right. But he was right. The foundation that we built the relationship off, it was weak.
It was weak.
And it was weak because I didn't know myself.
That hard.
I didn't know myself.
That hard.
So when I got to know myself, I realized, yeah, we made great friends, but we weren't compatible in a relationship.
Not at all. Not at all.
I knew him, and I knew him. And the crazy thing is, he knew me well enough to tell me that we wasn't compatible, but I wasn't trying to hear it.
Yeah, like this isn't, and again, we don't want to hear it because we think we're a failure. We associate things that don't work out with a failure mentality. That's how I felt the other day when I had my meltdown, right? I had all these negative thoughts, like if this ain't working out, then this ain't gonna work. You know, it's those negative messages you try to delete that have been downloaded in you so long, and then you realize, but wait, does it mean that I'm not solid, or is my thinking not solid? Because sometimes our thinking can deteriorate everything. You ever notice that? Again, that's what Abraham Hicks talks about all the time. Our thoughts truly manifested everything. And when I started thinking like that, everything kind of started to flow. I started going downstream instead of trying to go upstream. If you want an analogy, that's the best analogy I can give. Because when you're flowing downstream, things but when you're going upstream, you're going against the waves, right? You get hit in the face with rocks and waves and pollution, like you name it, you know? So I try to live my life going downstream. Do I like it sometimes? No. I can hate it. But it's, you have no control. And again, that's what, You know, not necessarily waving your white flag, but waving your white flag and trying to control everything. The only thing you have control over is you.
Your response.
Your response. I don't have control over her. She doesn't have control over me. We don't have control over anything, right? We just have control over our response to what is happening. And our response truly dictates what happens next. You know? Like, we can get bad news today and be pissed about it and upset. But is it aiding me being upset? If I hold on to that, because then it's going to fuck up the rest of my day. It's going to mess up the rest of my day. And the rest of my thinking about everything is going to be distorted. Right?
But you know what? It's okay to feel emotion and to feel upset or to feel those things.
It
Those are
is.
natural reactions. But it's what you do with it after you feel it. Do you hold on to it?
Yeah.
Or do you feel it for that moment that you need to feel it and you process those feelings or you acknowledge those feelings and then you let it go?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you can't control, especially if it's somebody that's doing something to
Right,
you.
right.
You can't control that.
Right, right. And again, caveat, are they doing it to you or is it your perception of what they're doing? Because a lot of times, ain't nobody doing shit. They ain't doing nothing to us. But our perception is, you're doing this to me, i.e. this is how I'm going to react to it. You know?
Sometimes the way people react affect us is not really directly towards us.
Yeah.
But we take it personally. Like, let's say if somebody who has issues with anger and they erupt in anger, that's how they communicate. It's not necessarily something that they're doing to you, even though it's per se not right.
Right.
But it's the way that they react towards things.
Right.
You know, like I had words with my kid's father the other day. Sometimes he's an Aries. Sometimes he can be explosive.
That's my baby sister. She's an Aries, and let me tell you.
I called him and I wanted to tell him something, but before I could even get it out, whenever he's tired, he's cranky.
Yeah.
Before I can even get it out, he lit me up.
Yeah.
He just went off. But I knew that it wasn't personal.
Yeah.
I knew that that's him expressing, I'm tired.
Right.
So what I did was I took him on the back.
Yeah.
I let him say what he had to say. And I hung up on his ass. Because he's not about to go somewhere.
Nope. I'm not going to give you that power. I'm not going to let you, as my Nana would say, I'm not going to give you my gusto. I'm not going to give that to you. I'm not going to give that to you. You can say what you want to say, feel you want to feel. I'm going to go ahead and, what's that, SpongeBob? I'm going to go ahead and head out. I'm going to go ahead and head out.
I'm head on out.
Because I'm going to go ahead and head on out. Because I'm not about to let you take me somewhere that I don't like to be. I don't like to be in this place. So,
Hung up on him. Called me the next day like nothing ever happened.
yeah. Yeah.
But he did apologize.
Yeah.
But no, my bad. But I wasn't mad anyway. I didn't take it personally.
Right. Right.
I don't have to put up with it either.
So why do you think we do that? Why do you think we take things personally, in your opinion? Especially women.
I think it depends on, because some things that you might take personal, I might not take personal. So I think sometimes there's something inside of us that relates to that.
Okay.
Prime example, like, I remember with my ex, before we broke up, we had a fight, and it was over a female.
Okay.
Right? And he made a few comments that hurt my feelings about the way she looked compared to me. Her skin was lighter, and her hair was longer, and she was thinner.
Well, I got a story for you, but please continue.
Even though what he said wasn't really personal, he was just projecting.
Yeah.
I took it personally because somewhere deep inside, I checked out and I realized that I had to realize that I do that, and that was a lack of self-love of myself that I had to work on. Right. So if a female's thinner than me, or she's lighter than me, I automatically check myself out. Right. Like, oh, he's gonna choose her.
Right. Right. I've definitely done that.
No, oh, she's gonna get it.
I've definitely done that.
She's more appealing. She's more peasy.
I've definitely done that, especially with weight, because I've always been self-conscious about my weight. Even, again, with losing weight, I'm still self-conscious, because I still, even though I've lost fat, I still got back fat and flabby arms, you know what I mean? Like I'm working on it, but when I see, you know, thin women, voluptuous women, I automatically think, oh, I'm at a no comparison. He's gonna choose that even if I have a good connection. Somebody like fucking Megan Thee Stallion walks in, I'm like, it's a wrap. Let me just dead this conversation now. Because so I've done that as well. I've totally done that. But I think what I realized in doing that was that was the ego talking. That's that little voice in the back of your head that's always on replay. That's just like, yeah, you're right. You fucked up.
You know, and another thing that gets me is parenting. So if somebody attacks me about parenting, if I take it personally, there's no such thing as a perfect parent.
No.
I'm going to say that there's not. So when people attack something that I'm not doing or not adequate with my parenting, I take it personally. Because somewhere deep down inside, I feel inadequate when it comes to my parenting.
Right.
That's when you got children that are imperfect. My daughter had a baby and my daughter was a teen parent.
Right.
So a part of you feel like you failed.
Right.
Or hell, shit, all my kids smoke weed.
Right.
I don't smoke weed. I got smoke weed.
Right. But I bet they're the calmest individuals in life. Touche.
Yeah. But you know, you just be like,
but yes, but you know what's crazy, and I want to repetition on that. I had a conversation a couple weeks ago about not just parenting, but just about being a mother. Because I'm 35, I'll be 36 next month. I don't have kids. I mean, if we had had this conversation 5-6 years ago, I'd be like, yes, I want kids. I'm not so sure. I'm good. I'm around kids every day, you know? And so what I had to come to terms with is me being a mother what I want, or is it what I was going to believe that I needed to be a woman? You see what I mean? Like I had to come to terms with that, and the terms that I came to, the foundation I came to was, I don't want to have kids. I don't want to have kids. I can still mother in a different way, right? And if it happens, then that means that it was meant to happen, not because I said I'm not this whole person if I don't bear life. So I'm a teacher, I'm a motivational speaker, right? And again, a lot of times, if we keep it at 200, I speak to more adults than I do kids, and they need me. Just like I do.
see what she says.
You know, because again, my childhood, not the greatest. So I looked for, you know, that fill in other people, and they were able to pour into me. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I, like I said, have to give life, bear fruit, in order to be considered a mother or a woman, you know? Like that was a heavy load.
Think about it. What makes a mother? To be able to create or bear fruit. But to be able to create or bear fruit, does that have to mean carrying someone inside their body?
No, because again, anybody, and again, I'm not comparing to humans and animals, but all mammals carry life. But once that life is here, are you imparting wisdom and information and skills into them that will allow them to go off and live independently by themselves? And I got to tell you, as an educator, that's not the case. Because I find myself being more of a disciplinarian, a confidant, a counselor, a therapist than I am ever an educator, because our babies, our children are lacking that. And again, it's no shade on parents, because again, parenting, there's no comparison. It's the hardest job in the world, right? But what I know to be true is that it's also something that doesn't come with a guide. You either have it or you don't. And some people naturally don't. And that's okay too. But all that means is that sometimes, like myself, I had to go and search for it to other people that were able to give me what I was lacking from the person that bear fruit to make me. You know what I mean? Like, and again, no shade to my parents, because they did what they could with the skill sets for which they had. I think sometimes we look at parents as some immortal conception, and they're not. You know?
Right. And you'll be surprised in the type of work that I do. People would think that I'm naturally a nurturing person, but I'm not.
Right.
I'm a provider.
Right.
I'm gonna make sure you got everything you need. You gotta worry about a roof to sleep up, a food
meal.
You ain't have to worry about clothes, shoes. You don't have to worry about any of that.
Yep.
But when it comes to being very nurturing and stuff like that, that's her dad.
Yep.
Spending quality time, hugs and kisses. I hug and kiss on them all the time. But it's not the same. So I noticed that, when my kids, they really need that. They tend to lean towards their dad, towards that. And I used to feel very guilty about that. But I had to understand that that's who I was. That's who I am.
Right.
And I try to be more nurturing now that I'm aware of that lacking. That's who I am. My mother was very nurturing. She was very, let's go in the kitchen and make some cookies together and talk. And I'm like, Mom, Dad, here go the damn cookies.
Right, yeah. Here go the ingredients. You mix. Yeah. No, I get it.
One thing that I've been able to bond with my kids over is spirituality.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because you can tell them what to do all you want, but they watch you. And my 5-year-old can read tarot cards.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
She makes people cry. She'll pull a card and she'll tell you what you see. I'm like, well, what does it mean? One time she read my friend and she pulled a card for her and it was a horse. At the time she got to read, she couldn't read. And she showed my friend this card. So what does it mean? She said, well, the horse is running through the air and it just means you need to forgive somebody. But she didn't know that the card said forgiveness. She didn't know what it is.
I love that.
And my friend was like, who I need to forgive? She was like, the man over there. Well, my friend had lost her dad. He had hurt.
Gotta let go. That forgiveness, man. That forgiveness.
She just told my friend a few weeks ago, like, you coming back from did you go to the airport yet? My friend was like, what do I need to go to the airport for? She said, because you're going somewhere. Out the club. My friend just got offered all this business plays from the pal.
That is amazing.
But she just knows. She told me I was getting a new car.
That's awesome.
I didn't tell nobody that I was getting ready to turn my car in. She told me what my car was going to look like and everything. She said, it's going to be a black truck. So I'm going to see that I'm a big. That's awesome. Mommy, when you going to get the new car?
That's awesome.
What car? She said, the new car, the black truck you're about to get.
So that's something that I've incorporated in my day as well. So when I wake up in the morning, like I said, I set my intentions, but I also pull a card each morning. So the other morning, I have my goddess deck and my inspirational deck. So my inspirational deck said reassess. Like I need to reassess my business. It said reassess. Then the other deck said, my goddess deck, the card that I pulled said, stop worrying. And it was the goddess tarot.
I got that deck. I love it.
Stop worrying, everything's gonna be fine. And sure as shit, I had kidney stones. This would have been Friday going into Saturday. So I had that attack on my kidney stones. So in my head, I'm like, man, I gotta go to the hospital, I gotta do this, do that. And all it was, I had to reassess some more things, oh, and then everything was fine. So again, I just say that to say that sometimes, yes, you do need to take a step back, right? Because everything that we truly need is already in us, and we honestly already know the answers. I'm one of those people, I like instant gratification. I'll be honest, I'm gonna know my shit now.
Me too.
Like right now. Oh, like,
if I got a goal, I want the results right
now.
now.
Like right now. Like I would like it right now, expeditiously.
Like I want to be a medium on TV, read thousands people right now.
That's how I feel about being a writer.
Forget all the hard work I got to put in to learn.
That's how I feel about being a writer.
Mentoring and counseling.
I want that now. But the journey I've been on being a writer has been more bountiful than I ever could have realized. And I've hit some bumps. Like I had an issue with a chick a couple days ago I had to check. Like I had to really check her. She didn't get SC, she got B-Rock. B-Rock was from 2007 to 2011. That was a person that was beating up chicks in bars and dating bouncers, and yeah, it wasn't good. It was, that wasn't, we'll wrap a taste on that in another episode, but yeah, that's who she got, because she put me in a very she put me in a place where I felt disrespected and made me question my authenticity. And I know I'm authentic. But never for you to make it seem like I'm not. Because again, I've been posting about this and I apologize for something. Kinda, sorta. She wasn't, so not the one you're thinking about. Not the one you're thinking about.
I'm sick of her.
Yeah. But again, the universe moved her away. We're not even working together anymore. Universe, she's not even in my presence anymore. That's good. She's gone. This was somebody else. But I'm one of those people, when I apologize, I'm sincere in my apology. I mean it. It's not, but don't milk it. Don't milk it, right? Like, I can't go on. Like, don't make it seem like my apology is like what's holding you to the cusp of life. Don't do that. Because then I'm gonna get mad. And that's what this person did. They tried to milk that. Like, I can't believe you would do this. Oh my God, how can I go on? Like, was very Erica Kane, One Life to Live-ish. And I'm like, this ain't what you're gonna do. Because I knew what it looked like. Because I had people in my family that would do that to me. As if my apology wasn't good enough. My sincerity wasn't good enough. And yeah, I get it. Sometimes apologies aren't enough. But in this particular case, it was enough. I apologized publicly. I put out a public retraction. I told her personally. She wanted to milk it. No.
So you let her have it?
Yeah. Expeditiously.
No.
I was like, no, you can have several on that. You can have several seats on that. No.
Sometimes you gotta do it.
Yeah, sometimes. But, I'm learning, because I'm such a people person, but when I'm learning, Jazz, is that not everybody that I come in contact with is good for me. Because I'm so open, especially because I'm such in a dope place. Not everybody wants to use that dopeness for what it is. They want to use it for what they want, and when they get what they want, it's, yeah. So I'm learning that. I'm learning to be more decisive in who I give my energy to, where I spend my energy. And I learned a valuable, it sucked, but I learned a valuable lesson in regards to her, because I thought she was somebody that we connected, but the connection she took from it was, I'm going to get what I want from her. You know what I mean? Where I was coming from, and like, oh, we can do great things together. That ain't what she was doing. She was very opportunistic with it. Right? So, yeah.
But look, this is going to conclude our session. We can go all day.
All day.
Oh my gosh. I can talk to this woman all day. Me and her every blue moon ain't enough, but she's busy. So we'll definitely meet again. For all those that tuned in, thank you. If anyone would like to contact you or speak to you about anything, please tell them how they can contact you.
Yes, so on social media, so on Instagram, my name is Honeybee1018, Facebook, Shelby Pressley, and then of course you can find my different editorials. You can Google me. I'm Googleable. Isn't that crazy? I Googled myself and I came up. That was wild. Googleable. I'm Googleable.
You Googleable?
Yeah, that was wild. But you can find me on Cincy and Dayton Chic Guide, and you can just Google Shelby Pressley or Shelby Pressley, and all my stuff will come up for you.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you want to contact me, I'm Jasmine Medium everywhere. JasmineMedium.com, Jasmine Medium on Facebook, IG. I try to keep it simple. So I'm just Jazz the Medium. You can find me anywhere. I'm on all social media platforms except for Twitter. I haven't gotten into the Twitter thing.
I'm on Twitter, but let me tell you, I can't vibe with Twitter. Every once in a while I put out a tweet, but nobody says anything, and it's weird to me.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I think I get more interest from Instagram and Facebook.
Same here.
I'm starting to really like TikTok.
I haven't gotten into TikTok. My students try to tell me, like, hey, you need to move into this.
I be TikToking with my kids.
I love yours. You put out one day, and I literally laid in bed and laughed for like 10 minutes. It was so funny.
Oh, God.
It was so funny.
Everyone loves the one where I was talking about when I was little, I see spirits. And I remember...
That one was funny.
That's how they used to treat me. Like, ain't nothing over there. You know, Jasmine, don't you start.
It was one about a relationship. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it was hilarious. I laughed for like 10 minutes. It was so funny. It was funny.
But you know where to find us, and again, we'll put the links to Landrell, Abraham Hicks, and Iyanla Vanzant in the contacts, and I also put her Facebook information in the not the contacts, but the description as well. So, with that, have a good day.
See ya.